Hey guys, John Campea here, and this is my quick review of the new Christian Bale, Mark Wahlberg film, The Fighter. Now, The Fighter is based on the true story of Mickey Ward, the boxer, and his unlikely climb to becoming the boxing world champion. Helped along, of course, by his trainer, best friend, mentor, and brother, Dickie, played by Christian Bale, and of course, Mickey is played by Mark Wahlberg. Now, the film starts off with Mickey Ward being in a bit of a slump. He's lost a couple of fights in a row. His brother is in a lot of trouble all the time. He's addicted to narcotics and drugs. And at some point, Mickey faces a crisis. And Mark Wahlberg must decide whether to stay with his brother or to move on. And through a series of events in the film, he decides at some point to move on. Dickie Ward goes to prison in the film, and his life gets turned around, ultimately coming to the point where, as you can see in the trailers, the two of them come back together and train for the championship fight of the world. Now, there are a lot of things to love about The Fighter, and let me talk about a couple of them right now. First of all is the performance of Christian Bale. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about Oscar buzz for the performance of Christian Bale, and none of it is exaggerated. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they're going to be running Christian Bale for Best Supporting Actor, when in reality, he is just as much the lead actor of this film as Mark Wahlberg did. I think he has just as much screen time. The story is not about Mickey Ward. The story is about Mickey Ward and Dickie Ward and their relationship and where that brought them. And having said that, even though Christian Bale is going to be running for Best Supporting Actor of the Year, I'm going to tell you right now, Christian Bale gives the Best Performance of the Year for either a lead actor or supporting actor. Either one. He gives the best performance of the year. Some argument could be made for Colin Firth for The King's Speech, but I think overall, Christian Bale gives the best performance of the year. He's absolutely dazzling in this role. This is a different Christian Bale than we've ever seen before. And even though throughout the movie, you know you've just watched an absolutely incredible performance, you don't really grasp how good the performance is until at the very end of the film, as the credits start to roll, they put up a clip on screen of the real-life Dickie and Mickey. And when you hear Dickie talk, then it really hits you how much Christian Bale just absolutely nailed this. Look, unfortunately in all this, because of the greatness of the performance of Christian Bale, a lot of people are going to overlook the performance of Mark Wahlberg, who is very solid in the film. I'm not going to say Oscar solid. I don't think he should be nominated for anything, but he gives a very solid performance and is part of the main reason that this film works so well. Another thing I got to mention in terms of cast is, I'm not going to list them all off, but the sisters. Mickey and Dickie have a group of about 6 or 7 sisters in the film, and they are basically the main comedic engine because every time these girls are on screen, they make you laugh. I mean, you can't help but be endeared by them, and even though they have some bad attitudes or whatever, you can't help but love them, and they're very, very funny in the film. One of the messages of the film that I really loved is the whole idea, and one of my favorite messages in any movie, is this idea of redemption. And the idea that anybody, no matter how messed up, if you start making the right decisions, you can turn your life around. There's still consequences, but you can turn your life around. And I think Dickie in this movie, portrayed by Christian Bale, is a great example of that in the true life story. I mean, his life just bottoms out. He ends up in prison. But because for the love he has for his brother and his family, and hopefully for himself, he starts making the right decisions, turns his life around, and becomes one of the main reasons that Mickey Ward goes on to win the title. And that's a great message in the film. The pacing of the film is wonderful. It is a drama that at times gets very, very heavy. Like I said, it deals with issues of drug addiction and things like that. And yet, without becoming a comedy, the director, David O. Russell, who also directed Three Kings and I Heart Huckabees, he drops in these moments of absolute hilarity. Just enough of them, though, that it never crosses that line into becoming a drama/comedy. It's decidedly a drama. But in keeping it from getting too heavy-handed, he drops in these great moments of absolute hilarity that gives a great overall temperature to the film that I just loved. Look, if there's any weakness to The Fighter, as a boxing movie, I'm going to say that the fight scenes themselves weren't all that believable. Mark Wahlberg, I think, has a ways to go in learning how to pull off really good fight scenes, at least in terms of boxing and stuff like that. Because a lot of the punches thrown, I just didn't buy into them. But really, that's the most negative thing I have to say about this film. It's funny when it should be to even out the heavy drama, great themes, great messages, fantastic on-screen chemistry, both between Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale, but also between Mark Wahlberg and Amy Adams, who I haven't mentioned, but she also does a wonderful job in the film. This is a terrific film. The Fighter is wonderful. It's intense. Good laughs along the way. I'll be surprised, not shocked, and I won't drop dead, but I'll be surprised if it's not one of the 10 films that gets nominated for Best Picture of the Year, and it deserves so, but I will drop dead of shock if Christian Bale doesn't win Best Supporting Actor. Overall, I'm going to give The Fighter an 8.5 out of 10. I'm John Campea. And hey, folks, by the way, if you'd like to hear more of my reviews, editorials, or podcasts, come and visit me at my website, johncampea.net. Hope to see you there.